I first met her 20 years ago. When I was 5 years old, I had really bad social anxiety and was a very introverted kid. At the time, I had no friends. While other kids were playing outside, I was either studying or playing my PS2 in my bedroom. My parents rarely came home, so they never noticed my social problems. However, my fear of socializing had one benefit: it made me a very observant kid. I would always watch my neighbor's kids play in the evening. My loneliness made me pay attention to details, whether it was the faded color of the kid's shirt due to the bad washing compound, or the strange pattern of behavior of the stray dog before its death from arthritis. I liked looking outside my window at the house next door. I don't know why, but it was so captivating. Last month, a new family moved in. One day, the curtain of the second floor was opened. There stood a girl around the same age as me. She saw me staring and quickly stared back, as if in a staring contest. However, she had a strange feature. The right half of her face was wrapped in white pieces of cloth, kinda a mummy. We stared at each other for a while before she grabbed her whiteboard and started writing with not so good handwriting. "Who are you?" I then grabbed my own whiteboard and wrote, "I'm Veronica, what about you?" "I'm Abigail," she replied. This went on for a while, and I've gotten more information about her. She loved biology, and she had many thick books about biology. She is a bookworm just like me. Her parents were famous scientists that worked for some big company. She wasn't allowed to go outside because of her illness from the accident she had last year. Her parents said that she fell down from the basement stairs to the vat of chemicals, the reason for her half-bandaged face. But she said she remembered nothing about the accident though, so I guess her brain suppressed the traumatic memory. A month goes by after I met Abby. We relied on whiteboard communication. I thought of visiting her in her house, but she told me that her parents wouldn't allow it. As time flies by after we first met at the window, I think we had more in common than I first expected, and I actually enjoyed communicating with her. But there is something wrong though. It's not about her, it's about her parents. They rarely came out of the house, and they looked off. Their clothing has a red anchor-looking badge in their clothes. Their hair looks messy, and they had weird red stains on their clothes. And Abby shows signs of fear and anxiety when talking about them, so I knew something was off. I stalked them for a while, trying to study their behavior. They talked a lot about the experiment, about how they struck gold or something. The thing weird is that, for parents that should be desperate for the cure for their child's condition, they never talked about Abby at all. That's when it hit me. I don't know that it's because of my movie and comics addiction, but they don't look like they cared about poor Abigail at all. They treated her horrifying condition as an experiment, even though I didn't get much love or attention from my parents. Their immense apathy for Abby is bone-chilling. Wait a second, something doesn't add up. If they are scientists from huge companies, shouldn't they keep all of their experiments and research hidden or organized and kept it away from sight? And if their discoveries were that dangerous and it's capable of burning Abby's face off, who in their right mind would just leave a vat of chemicals lying there on the basement floor, especially if they have a 5-year-old child? Nothing makes sense at all. Abby doesn't even know that much about her own parents, so much that it's concerning. She told me multiple times that I shouldn't interact with them, and that I need to keep our relationship a secret. No child should feel like this about their parents. One thing I notice about her is that every Wednesday her bandage gets undone and changed. I've noticed that slowly but surely her bandage starts to cover more and more of her face. I was more concerned as time flew by. I have to stop this madness. I need to save her from those monsters. The longer she's with them, the more hurt and scared she looked. I can only see fear in her eyes. Her fragile little hands started to shake. She was getting weaker. I need to get her to the hospital. In one fateful day, I finally saw what really happens behind those windows. I usually went to school that day, but that Wednesday was different. The school was closed for a week, so I looked at the window. What I saw that day still sticks with me till this day. Abby's parents dragged her down from her bed. They removed her bandage, revealing her face. It was horrifying. Her eyes and mouth. Her eyes had a red glow, and her pupils were shaped like a cat's. Her teeth was razor sharp. She wasn't human. They started to beat her onto a corner. Blood stained her clothes. She was crying from the pain. Those monsters start to pour a strange liquid onto her face. She screamed from the pain. Her face was melting, and one of her teeth fell out. They collected the sharp tooth and put it inside their pockets. I couldn't watch any more of the abuse. She may not be human, but she is my first ever friend. I banged on my window, trying to get their attention. They stared at me, their face was full of anger. They rushed downstairs, so did I was faster than them. I quickly locked the door and windows, then I grabbed the house telephone and went upstairs. During that I heard them pounding on my front door. I locked myself in my bedroom and dialed 911. The police came and arrested those mad lads. Turns out they were not scientists at all, and Abigail wasn't even their daughter. They had adopted her from the orphanage in Lakeside City. The police rescued Abby and took her to the hospital. Her condition was terrible, but the horrifying extra organs were gone for now. I can't remember what happened next, but I remember visiting Abby from the hospital. After her recovery, she was adopted by a couple in the nearby neighborhood. They actually loved her and care for her like real parents should. Ronnie, are you zoning out again? Abby asked. Oh, I was just reminiscing about us. Sorry about that, honey, I replied. She leaned in for a kiss. Her third eye was staring at me with adoration. If I wasn't at the window that day we met, my fiancé would still be trapped in that hellhole.